What is going on, everyone? This is another video from Reeves Gaming. How are you guys doing? I'm out on the road, and I ran across this guy, Fulltilt503. He does YouTube videos, and he's playing Euro Truck Simulator. So while he's playing his games and making his videos, he has conversations about what's going on in the world. Well, this happened to be around when the rebel flag went down and everything, and I've watched the video, and all he says is true. So I would like to play it for you guys. There ain't gonna be no video, all it's gonna be just talk, but I want you guys to listen to it, and I would like to have a bunch of comments on this. So, here he is.
Hey guys, Full Tilt here. Welcome back to some more Euro Truck. Today, if you couldn't tell from the title of the video, I'm going to be covering this controversial issue going on lately about the rebel flag. I'm going to chime in on that. There's a couple things though before we get to that. First and foremost, what we're running with today. We've got the Peterbilt 359 set up with about 44,000 pounds of logs on this custom log trailer. It's from the USA trailer pack if you guys want to check it out. Everything I'm using is going to be in the mods list below. Got a 600 horsepower Cummins engine with an 18-speed transmission, and I think it's a pretty cool looking truck, pretty cool looking setup. That trailer looks like it's kind of made for the rig. Something that's not related to this discussion that I just want to get out of the way real quick, since this is going to be a controversial type video, and I'm bound to get people commenting regardless of what their point of view is. I just wanted to basically inform you guys and suggest that you guys go into your Google Plus settings and make sure you have your comments set so that everyone can reply to what you post. I'm getting a bit tired of people coming on the channel, asking questions, or basically posting their points of view, trying to counter things that I say. It's a little frustrating when you can't answer them because they have it where no one can reply to that which they're saying. And since this is going to be a controversial video, I'm bound to get people who are just going to disagree with me or try to correct me or anything like that, which is totally fine. I will never censor anybody who disagrees with me, but I'm not going to tolerate people coming in, basically getting their word in, and then that be it because you can't counter or refute what they're saying. That's not cool. That's not what we do here. I leave the comments open on these videos so that you guys can chime in and post your thoughts and feelings on the issues. I could be a dick and just make the video, speak my piece, and then disable the comments. I don't do that. So I'm not going to support and tolerate people doing that themselves. That's just not fair. That's not right. If you don't know how to go change your settings, just do a quick Google search. Type in Google, how do I enable my comments in YouTube or whatever, and it'll show you right how to do it. It takes you like 10 seconds. So I figure I'll just point that out. Everybody's got fair warning. I hate to have to do it, but depending on what people say and how they present it, I may be deleting people's comments if you cannot reply to them, because that's just not fair and I don't support that. So, getting to the topic at hand. I feel like a lot of the videos I've seen on this, because I do watch a bunch of other channels and some of them have talked about this and I've seen it on the news and all that, and everybody just kind of, they get right into their opinion. Do you support banning it or do you not support banning it? I think that's the wrong way to go. I'm going to go a different route. Before I start going my opinion, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a history lesson, because many of you are not from the U.S. You don't know about the American Civil War, and hell, most Americans, it seems, don't know about U.S. history because we're not taught about U.S. history anymore in our school system. Our schools are too busy teaching how white people are evil because of slavery and how Americans are basically illegal immigrants. They kind of, the whole illegal immigration thing. Americans are illegal immigrants as well because, the Indians and blah, blah, blah. And they're too busy teaching us about socialism and how great that is and how 10 plus 10 equals 97, because as long as you can explain how you got that incorrect answer, you're magically correct. Yeah, you go do that. Say you're working construction, you get your measurements wrong, you fuck up a whole project and waste everybody's time. Yeah, you go tell your boss how it's okay because I know here's how I got to that incorrect answer. Yeah, they're going to fire your ass in a heartbeat. So try that out and see how it works. But getting off the topic a little bit, I feel like I could give you guys a little bit of a history lesson, because most people, if they know anything at all about the American Civil War, they get a very watered down and basic version of it. And I've been guilty of this in the past because up until recently, I've never actually studied or read up on the American Civil War. The version that people get pretty much comes down to this. The North wanted to abolish slavery, the South wanted to keep slavery. We fought a war to end slavery. That's false. That's not why the Civil War actually started. I've also heard people sit here and try to link the North as being the Democrats. Democrats have even tried to say that Abraham Lincoln is a Democrat. False. The North, the Union, was predominantly Republican. Abe Lincoln was a Republican. A lot of people consider him the father of the Republican Party. The South, the Confederacy, is actually the Democrats. So, got news for you, Democrats. You actually own the Confederacy. You own that which you are now trying to actually ban. Kind of ironic there, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So, it didn't start. That's too simple of a version to sit here and say that it was all about slavery. What started the Civil War was states' rights, and yes, it was regarding trade, economy, and slavery, and some of those economic and trade issues were regarding slavery and the use of slave labor and all that. But it didn't start because one side wanted to get rid of it and one side didn't. The North had and kept slaves. Everybody had, well, not everybody. Actually, if we're going to be honest, what was it, maybe like 20-30% of whites back in the Civil War days actually owned slaves. So everybody acts like everybody, you know, like cars nowadays. You know, hey, everybody has a car. No, not everybody had a slave back then. And then fun fact regarding that, you had free blacks, black people who were free, who had black slaves. You also had white slaves. So you might want to actually kind of check into that before you start doing the whole white guilt thing and how, you know, slavery is solely the sins of white people. In fact, the first slave owner in this country was indeed a black man. So, yeah. Anyways, so getting back to the history, it started over states' rights, boiled down to basically a difference of opinion. The South wanted to go one direction, the North wanted to go another. The North was kind of wanting to get a little bit softer on the slavery, ease up on it, they weren't really wanting to abolish it just yet, but they were kind of maybe, you could argue, trying to kind of phase it out a little bit, make it a little less, you know, harsh, I guess, for lack of a better description. And the South was more looking into expanding even greater into slavery and using the labor more and more and all that. Neither side was good. Neither side was really pushing anything great at the time. The whole thing about abolishing slavery came later. The North did indeed eventually sign into law where they abolished slavery. And that's where everybody, you know, boils it down to a simplified version of, you know, one side wanted to get rid of it and one side wanted to keep it. That's just too simple and too inaccurate. Now, skip ahead here to 2015. Why all of a sudden is this the magical year where there's a movement to ban the Confederate flag? What happened, what kicked this off, back in June, you had this psychopath walk into a church, and he shot 10 people, I believe, and he killed 9 of them. Now, the shooter happened to be white, the victims all happened to be black. It was a black church, which, side note, how is that not racist? We have all black churches, we have all black colleges, we have scholarships for if you're black, we have black entertainment television, but on the flip side, if we had white entertainment television, that's racist. If we had all white colleges, that's racist. If we had scholarships for being white, that's racist. Kind of a double standard there, right? It's playing into, I'm kind of slightly incorporating the whole white guilt thing because that's been going on lately. Everybody's all on the white guilt, white people need to feel guilty. Bitch, why do I need to feel guilty for shit that I didn't do? Last I checked, was not alive during the goddamn Civil War and during slavery. Last I checked, none of these black people who say that I'm an evil white sinner for slavery, last I checked, they weren't fucking alive either to be a slave. So I don't get that argument. That doesn't really make any sense to me. I didn't commit any acts like that, so I don't owe anybody a goddamn thing. I'm sick and tired of hearing about white guilt and about how black people are owed reparations for slavery. I got a question for you. Black people, any of you black people that are watching, here's a simple question. Were you a fucking slave? I didn't think so. Shut the fuck up. We don't owe you shit. In fact, we already paid that debt. Hundreds of thousands of white men fought and died in that Civil War to end slavery. Thousands have died since in support of civil rights and getting equality, because at the end of the Civil War, that didn't just, solve everything. Yeah, legally blacks were no longer slaves, but you still had people just looking at them as subhuman, and people have fought and died to change that to where now, in this modern era, you have an equal shot at equal opportunity as anybody of any other race. We don't owe you a fucking thing. Oh man, this shit just gets me heated talking about racism and all that, because oh my god. The people who call other people racist and all that are usually some of the biggest fucking racists there are, but I'm getting off topic hardcore. I apologize, kinda, not really. It's something that needs to be said. Nobody says it because everybody's afraid of, oh, they're gonna call me a racist. I don't give a fuck if you call me a racist. If you're that unintelligent to take what I'm saying, the truth of what I'm saying, as racism, I pity you. So, I'll say it. I got the balls to say it. I don't give a shit. But getting back on topic, this guy that did the act that killed these people, those people didn't deserve to be killed. There's no justifiable reason why the hell he did that. He is a racist. He's guilty. They caught him. They know it was him. He's already pretty much admitted to it. They caught him on camera. I hope he gets a speedy trial, and by speedy trial I mean a speedy execution, because he's a fucking piece of shit. So, we'll see what happens. It's probably going to end up like the Colorado shooting guy who's still on trial, even though they caught him in the act doing it, but never mind that. Getting back to this flag issue, though, the funny thing about it, when you see these people talking about how we need to ban the Confederate flag because it stands for hatred and oppression and white power and slavery, and the funny thing about that is every time they say we need to ban the Confederate flag, they don't point to a Confederate flag. They're pointing to a battle flag. There's a difference. That would be like saying we need to ban the American flag because it stands for X, Y, and Z, but then they point to the U.S. Marine Corps flag. That doesn't make any sense. You're attributing different traits to different symbols. The flag that everyone keeps pointing to is a battle flag. It's a battle flag of the North Virginia Army. Some people say it's a Tennessee battle flag as well. I guess the only difference between the two is one's square and one's rectangle, so I don't know. People sometimes can't make up their minds on this stuff, but regardless, it's a battle flag. It's not the actual flag of the Confederate States of America. So they keep saying we need to ban the Confederate flag, and then they point to the total opposite thing that doesn't have the same meaning. What that tells me is they don't have the slightest fucking clue what they're talking about, and some dipshit somewhere whispered the idea, just go along with it, we need to ban this, and then the sheep went, oh shit, yeah, that's legit, let's go along with it. That right there is just, it's comical. People, they get on TV and all that, and they talk about, we need to ban the Confederate flag, and then they probably have no idea what the Confederate flag actually looks like. It's completely different. The flag that's on the Dukes of Hazzard's car, that's not the Confederate flag. But again, back to people aren't taught history, everybody just attributes the whole, if it's orange and blue and has stars on it, it's Confederacy. Whatever, that's just, to me it doesn't make any sense. And then the other thing is that, since they're attributing all these traits to the wrong flag, they keep saying that the battle flag stands for racism and oppression and all that. I wouldn't even agree for that on the Confederate flag, but the battle flag, you don't even have a case saying that it stands for racism and all that. It's a battle flag. It symbolized battle. It identified the army that carried it. Nowadays, in 2015, here in modern time, very few people attribute that flag, that design, to oppression and racism. Only ones that do it are actual racists themselves. There are indeed groups who have hijacked the meaning of that flag. The KKK, the Nazis, the neo-Nazis now. I guess in Germany they can't fly swastikas and stuff, so they've kind of taken the Confederate flag and they use it for their white power meetings. But just because a couple groups of douchebags sit here and hijack the meaning of it doesn't mean that's what it means. I mean, if the KKK starts using the American flag, are we going to ban the American flag? flag because that doesn't make any sense. So they're trying to ban a battle flag, and they're trying to ban it because they're attributing the wrong traits to said battle flag. And I find that comical that people sit here and they with a straight face can sit here and go, we need to ban the Confederate flag, and they have no idea what it even looks like. Another thing that I find pretty dang funny is that in true Democrat fashion, the whole, let no tragedy go to waste, as soon as this event took place, they immediately went into their agenda mode. And it was, we got to ban guns, gun control. This never would have happened if we had gun control. That doesn't get any traction anymore because people are starting to wake up and realize guns don't kill people, people kill people. So it's kind of a stupid thing to say we need more gun control and more gun laws because people aren't going to follow those laws if they want to go kill somebody with a gun. But, again, I got to be fair. It's not just the Democrats that are wanting to ban this flag. You've got people all across the board. You've got Republicans. You've got Republican politicians that are bending over and saying, oh, yeah, I support banning it because they don't want to be labeled as a racist. It comes all down to that labeling thing. The Democrats are very good at labeling you if you disagree with them on a topic. But the funny thing that I find about that is the Democrats sit here and they say, we need to ban the Confederate flag because the Confederate flag stands for racism, it stands for oppression, it stands for hatred, it stands for slavery and white power and all that. Yet it's your flag, Democrats. Do you not realize that? You own the Confederacy. The Confederacy started by the Democrats. So you're basically saying my party is a bunch of racist, slave-owning, hateful, oppressive motherfuckers. Furthermore, fun fact, the flag's been used, as I stated earlier, by the KKK. Who founded the KKK? The Democrats. A Democrat founded the KKK. The Civil Rights Movement. During the Civil Rights Movement here in America, you had lots of people flying the Confederate flag as a symbol of being against equal rights and all that. Who was predominantly against the Civil Rights Movement back then? The Democrats. So you're sitting here trying to say we need to ban stuff because of shit that you historically support. Now, I'm not saying just because you're a Democrat right now that you're automatically a racist or something, but I am saying you're kind of an asshole because you've aligned yourself with a party who throughout history has always stood on the wrong side of issues. They've always been for racism and oppression, and yet here you are with a straight face. You can go, the Democrat Party is the way to go. Are you just stupid, or do you not actually know what your party, stands for? Again, I gotta be fair. The Republicans aren't, and I'm not a Republican, by the way, but the Republicans aren't squeaky clean either. They've got their bullshit, they've got their baggage, but they didn't found the KKK. They weren't predominantly against the Civil Rights Movement, and they didn't start the fucking Confederacy. So, yeah, fun fact. Now, if you guys couldn't tell by now, I'm staunchly against banning this flag, whether it be the rebel flag or the Confederate flag, if they can pull their head out of their ass and figure out which one they actually want to ban. I'm not in favor of banning any of them. It's a symbol of American history. It's a part of our history of this nation, and it's just absolutely asinine to try to ban something that important. They're going after it on memorials. They're going after it on people who are having it on their clothing. They're going after stores that sell it. They're going after cemeteries, Civil War cemeteries, where Southern soldiers are buried, and they've got Confederate flags. They're saying, you need to take those down. What? That is just, it's absolute bullshit. It's disrespectful is what it is. You're basically saying, I don't agree with that, so you don't have the right to fly it. A very simple argument that I can make, I can shut down this debate in 3 words. I don't support banning this flag for 3 words. Freedom of speech. In this country, you have the right to freedom of speech and expression. If you want to fly the Confederate flag, you can fly the Confederate flag. If you want to fly the American flag, you can fly the American flag. If you want to fly a fucking Homer Simpson flag, you can fly a Homer Simpson flag. You want to fly a fucking KKK flag, you can do that. And you want to know something? I may not necessarily on some of those flags support the substance of it, the group or the symbolism behind it, but I support your right to fly it. I would never say, if my neighbor next door, who is not a racist by the way, I'm just using as an example, my neighbor next door, if I walked outside here in a little bit and he's got a fucking Nazi flag with swastikas and shit in his front yard, I ain't gonna go over there and tell him to take it down. I'm gonna think he's a fucking douche, but I ain't gonna go tell him to take it down. You wanna know why? Because it's his fucking right as an American. It's his constitutional right to fly it. Now that works both ways. Freedom of speech is a two-way street. The Democrats don't think so. They think they only have the right to freedom of speech. They say that they're very tolerant. It's all about, oh yeah, we're tolerant. You know, we agree with the freedom of speech so long as you're actually saying what we agree with. But it's a two-way street. If you're gonna fly a flag, people have the right to be against that. If you're gonna say something, people have the right to say something else. If you're gonna fly a Confederate flag, for example, people have the right to kind of protest it. What they don't have the right to do is forcibly go take it down. They don't have the right to sit here and threaten you and your family to try to get their way. That they do not have the right. But they also have a protected right to freedom of speech and expression. They have the right to rally and protest and bitch and moan and hem and haw because you said something that upset them and hurt their feelings. But what they do not have the right to do is they don't have the right to obstruct your right to freedom of speech and expression. Just because it offends them and upsets them and makes them angry or something like that, that doesn't mean that you can't say it or do it. You have the right, just like they have the right to protest you, and you have the right to protest them, and you know, that's the way it is. That's the way this country is. And like I said earlier, you know, as an American and somebody who knows, you know, what made this country great and the freedoms that we're supposed to have that we really no longer have, you know, there's a lot of things out there that I don't agree with and I don't support and I personally don't like, but I'm in no way, shape, or form has it ever crossed my mind, we need to ban it, we need to get rid of it. I don't like seeing that, it needs to go, you know, I don't like your viewpoints, you need to shut up. That's not the American way, and people need to really just wake up and smell the coffee and realize you're acting like a bunch of fucking fascist pricks when you sit here and you try to censor everybody. Oh, he said that in a mean way, or you can't say that, it's not politically correct. And, like, dude, I don't give a fuck, you know? Like, when did we get so pussified in this country where I can't say something because you're a crybaby bitch and it offends you? Like, I'm sorry that your parents raised a pussy. Man up, grow some balls. You know, I'm sorry you got thin skin. I'm not politically correct. I'm a straight shooter. I call it like I see it. But I'm sick and tired of this whole censorship. And this flag thing, yeah, I had a hard time doing this video, trying to do it with my buddy. I told you guys earlier, I think it was last week, that I was trying to get one of my buddies on board and talk about it. And it'd be kind of interesting to have two people's point of view. But we tried it, and we just kept going off in all kinds of different directions because for both of us, it was, while it is an important issue, this wanting to censor a piece of American history, for both of us, it's kind of a minor issue at the same time. What I mean by that is, for me, it's just the latest hit piece from the Democrats. It's the latest, you know, thing that needs to be censored. I mean, if they're not trying to censor guns, they're trying to censor, if they're not trying to ban guns, they're trying to ban certain foods. So you can't eat that, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. If they're not trying to ban that, they're trying to ban what car you drive. Well, think about the global warming, you know, you can't drive that SUV or whatever. If they're not doing that, they're telling people they can't build on their own land because you might harm a snail or an ant colony. So, you know, never mind that you bought the land and you bought the permits, you can't build there, you know. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of just oppressive bullshit. And the thing is, the people that are doing all of this, you know, oppression, if you will, that's what I'm calling it. It's oppression. You're basically oppressing my rights and my liberties that I am entitled to as an American. You don't realize that you're acting like a fascist fucking cunt. You're acting like a goddamn Nazi when you sit here and you try to tell me I can't do things solely because you don't like it, you don't agree. You can't smoke. I don't like the smell of it. I don't like your fucking bitchy attitude, but you don't hear me complaining, you know? It's like, that's not the way it works here, and I'm just kind of getting fed up with it. And it's just like nobody has any balls nowadays. Nobody can handle it, and if it even slightly unnerves you, it's gotta go. We gotta get rid of it. Just man the fuck up. Realize that people have a difference of opinion. Not everybody agrees on things. Not everybody likes the same things. If we all did, it'd be a very boring world, in my opinion. And just man up and deal with it. The flag ain't hurting nobody. The only people who think it's a symbol of racism are the uneducated or the racists, the KKK and shit like that. They're not hurting nobody. No one gives a fuck about them. Majority of people, it's a heritage thing. They've got family who fought in the Civil War back in the day, and they're aware of their heritage, and it's a way of respect and remembering and all that. It's a way of honoring. For some people, it's a Southern pride thing. It doesn't stand for racism to most people anymore, anything kind of negative. I grew up here in the Pacific Northwest. I have absolutely no ties to that flag whatsoever. And that being said, I already stated that I in no way, shape, or form support banning or censoring the flag, whether we're talking the rebel flag or the Confederate flag itself. I don't support banning either of them. But up here in the Pacific Northwest, growing up, you'd see people with flags flying on their trucks or bumper stickers, something like that. Never once did I ever think, oh, what a bunch of racist pricks. It was always, those are probably some country boys. And sure enough, it was always country folk, always in their jacked up Chevys and Fords and stuff. And it's a Southern pride thing, And I don't get why people are so offended by it. Why does that upset you so much? Why do you want to ban the history? We already don't teach it in our schools. We don't educate our children, so we're doomed at some point probably to repeat our past mistakes because we don't teach it anymore, so we can't learn from it. So why do you want to ban a symbol, like all reference to it? Why do you want to go after cemeteries and stuff? That, again, it's not hurting anybody. It's not physically causing you any harm. Somebody walking around with a Confederate flag or a rebel flag shirt or something like that, they're not harming you in any way, shape, or form. All they're doing is they're offending you. Our rights as Americans don't stop with your feelings. If that's the way shit went down, oh my God, we would, could you imagine it? We'd already be in another civil war. If you didn't have the right to do something because somebody else got offended by it, we'd already be in another civil war. It would be a non-issue. I wouldn't even be talking about it right now because we would already fought a civil war. We would have won. Because, the Democrats don't like guns, so how are you going to win that? But anyways, I'm just saying, I'm getting kind of out there. Now, I've made my case, I've spoken my piece, I've given you guys my thoughts and my opinions, so I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say about it. What are your thoughts? As I said, I probably pissed a lot of people off with this. Truth hurts. Some people can't handle the truth. Some people, again, have gone their whole lives living under certain knowledge that they thought was truth, and people don't take kindly to someone coming in 30 minutes basically ripping apart their entire belief system. They don't take kindly to that. So lucky for me, I don't give a shit if you take